In the first and the second video, we had talked about Tommy and John. This is Tommy and this is John. Let us have a comparison between the two and their incomes. This equation represented Tommy's income, y equals 2x plus 4, whereas this equation represented John's income. Now these two equations are pretty similar, y equals 2x, y equals 2x. The only difference is this plus 4 and this minus 4, which, if you remember the general form, y equals mx plus c, it's the c that is different in both the two cases, right? This is c and here it is plus 4, whereas in this case it is minus 4. So it's the c that is making the difference between the two guys. Now let us have a look at the graphs of the two equations. The graphs also seem to be pretty similar, right? They seem to be upwards, pointing upwards in both the cases. And the only difference is where the graph or the line meets the y-axis. If you see, it meets the y-axis at this point in case of Tommy, and in case of John it meets the y-axis at this point. Now let us have a look at what exactly this means. So firstly, if we look at the rate at which the income of both the guys is increasing as their sale increases, that is pretty similar. Why? See, here when Tommy sells a single donut, he earns $6. As he sells one more donut, by selling 2 donuts, he earns $8, which means 2 more dollars. So as he sells one more donut, he earns 2 more dollars. As he sells another donut, he gets 2 more dollars, right? So his income keeps on increasing by $2 as he sells one more unit each time, right? A similar thing happens for John. As he's selling 2 shirts, he's earning $0, but when he's selling 3 t-shirts, he earns $2, which is 2 more than his previous income. So as he sells one more unit, he earns 2 more dollars. So the rate in both the cases is pretty much similar. What is different is this point. What does this point really mean? This means that when Tommy sells 0 units, which means he does nothing, he just goes to his shop, enjoys and comes back, sells nothing, he still earns $4. Whereas if John does the same, he sells nothing, he will earn minus $4, which means he'll be at a loss of $4. So this starting point, or the point at which they earn nothing, or in mathematical terms where x is 0, the value of y at that point, that is different. Or if you look at that graphically, the point at which the graph intercepts y-axis, that point is different in both the two cases. And here that point is 0, 4 on the y-axis. That is the main point, because it will be of course 0 on the x-axis in both the cases. But here it is 4 on the y-axis, and here it is minus 4 on the y-axis, which means the graph intercepts the y-axis at y equals 4, and here it intercepts the y-axis as at y equals minus 4, right? Minus 4 and plus 4. And if you look at this value, the value of c, that is plus 4, and the value of c here is minus 4. So if you can connect the dots here, the value of c in both the cases actually tells us at what value of y will the graph intercept y-axis. In other words, this can be called the y-intercept for the given equation. If it is plus 4, as in this case, that means the graph will intercept y-axis at plus 4. Whereas if c or y-intercept is minus 4, it means that the graph will intercept the y-axis at minus 4. Let us reinforce this idea with a few more examples. Here I have the graph of y equals 1x plus 0. Here I have plus 0, and so our c, which is the y-intercept, is 0, which means this graph should intercept the y-axis at 0. And if you look at the graph, it does intercept the y-axis at 0, y equals 0. Here the y-intercept is plus 1, which means the graph should intercept the y-axis at y equals plus 1, and that is true. does indeed equal to +1, and that is the point where it intercepts. Further, I can look at this equation, y equals 1x plus 2, the y-intercept is +2, and as now, because this has increased, the graph has slightly shifted upwards in order for it to intercept the y-axis at y equals 2, right? Compare it with this one. Here it intercepts at 1, and in this case it intercepts it as at 2, y equals 2, because our y-intercept is 2. If in this case, if our y-intercept is -2, you can see that the whole graph has sort of shifted downwards in order for it to intercept the y-axis at y equals -2. So if you look at that, that seems to me to be quite an amazing fact. Just by looking at this number, the value of c, also known as the y-intercept, I can predict as to where our graph will intersect the y-axis. That to me seems pretty cool, and that is known as the y-intercept for you, also known as, or denoted by the letter c.